Hi everybody and welcome. In today's video we are going to be talking about points, lines, and planes. So today's video, not a whole lot of calculating, honestly just working through 3 definitions of some skills that we're going to see come back throughout this year. So in geometry in general, sometimes we're going to see things where we're doing some solving, sometimes we're going to see things where we're doing some basically definitions and memorizing. So both of them are equally important. Both of them will show up just as much on the state test as the others. So what I would say is for these ones, we're going to want to memorize what these definitions mean. We're going to want to keep track of them. That way, if an assessment comes up, we are prepared for it. That being said, any assessments that you'll see for me specifically, so not the state test, but tests that I give you, you will be able to use your notes on. So especially if we end up getting quite a few definitions by the end of the year, if you take really good track and take care of your notes, you're going to be in good shape because you'll have the definitions when we ask about them on any assessments that we give you in class. That being said, on the state test, you won't be able to use those definitions, so we're all just practicing and getting ready for that eventual date where we take that future final assessment there. So with that being said, we're going to jump right in. The first word that we're going to go over is point. And a point is a single location without shape or size. So I know that when we draw these points, it looks like it's a little circle, it's a little ball, but it's actually just literally doesn't take up any space at all. It's just a location. So you can think about a point as a location that doesn't actually take up any space or size by itself. So if we're going to draw it and a point, just like that, just a small little dot, that's it. And the second thing is we label our points so they all have names. So if we have like point W, that would be an example. We could also do like point A. So those are good examples. Some things that we can't do, so I'll label this as non-examples. So these are not allowed. If we did something like point and then we put a lowercase a, that would be incorrect. All points are in capital letters. So let's go through a couple of the characteristics of points right below. So a point is simply a location. It is drawn as a dot. It is named by a capital letter. So that's the idea for points. So words and symbols, you can use our little example portion here. So here is the example in our vocab model, and then here is our definition. So when we do definitions this year, you'll see a lot of these models come back up. So just to get familiar with the idea, we always do the definition on top and we'll always do examples on the bottom. So that is our first thing that we're taking a look at today. Our first skill is looking at points. The second skill that we're going to be taking a look at, line. So a line is made up of points. It has no thickness or width. It's like an invisible piece of string, and the string is basically transparent. Like there is no width to the string at all. It's the smallest thing you could ever possibly imagine. So a rope would actually be a bad example of a line because a rope is a little bit thicker, right? So you're seeing something that has mass, it has width. We're really looking at something that's like smaller than the smallest piece of dental floss you've ever seen, and that would be a line. So examples of lines, we could take our points from above. We drew W and we drew A. And what a line would do is it would basically just take the 2 points that we have here and would just extend through them. So there's different things that can happen with lines. So if we keep going, we draw little arrows at the end of it. This would be a line. And some things that we can do for the naming of a line is if we have 2 points on a line, you are allowed to name it those 2 points. So this could be a little symbol on top. If we were to say that out loud, that would be saying line WA. Oh, I think we just lost what we had there. All right, so let's just jump right back into where we were. Hopefully, yeah, it was very strange. Hopefully didn't lose too much. But So again, taking a look here, we would have, I think we were just working with line WA. So if we're taking a look at this, again, sorry for that delay. We are just saying that this is line WA. So that's one way that we can take a look at it. A second way, you are actually allowed to do this. It might have this written in for you. You can put in like a lowercase script letter off to the side, but it has to be in script or it has to be in cursive. So something like if we wanted to call this, I don't know, lowercase p, I'll draw a fancy little cursive p. And we could also name this line lowercase cursive fancy p. So that would be the second way we can name it. So two ways we can do it. We can name it like this, or we can name it like this. So two different ways you can name lines. A second thing that we can take a look at here is if we have the same thing. So if we had W and A again, as a second example, and we connect these two, but you'll notice something different about these two is that the line doesn't extend. So if the line does not extend at all, we call it a line segment. Wow, that is frustrating. So taking a peek back in here, so if we have just W and just A, that is a line segment. So all that means is that the line itself, it doesn't keep going, it's just a piece of that overall extended line. So we stop at W and we stop at A, and we're just measuring the distance in between them. A regular line, it goes on forever. It would circle the globe, come all the way back, loop itself all the way around. Go to Australia, come back through. That's the idea, is that it keeps going forever. But a line segment doesn't go forever. It's just that small portion of whatever we see. So some key points for lines here that we want to talk about. A line is made up of points and has no thickness or width. It is drawn with an arrow at each end. So this is the line that keeps going forever, goes to Australia and back. And it is named by the letter representing 2 points on the line or a lowercase script letter. So we can have one option, 2 points on the line, or a second option, a single lowercase script letter. Points on the same line are said to be collinear. That means that they share a line. So an example from above, W and A are collinear because they are on the same line. All right, so that is it for points and lines. The next definition we're going to take a look at is a plane. So you might notice a point is a singular point, a line is 2 or more points, and you can guess a plane, we're going to be taking up a lot more points with a lot more space here. So this is a flat surface of points that extends in all directions. The way that I think about this for an example is like a sheet of paper. It's not like a book. It doesn't go up and down. It's just flat and extending. And it's so flat, just like we talked about before, it doesn't really have any width to it. It's just flat and it extends in the directions of a blank sheet of paper. So it doesn't go up and down, it just goes all around it on the sides. So what you'll see is typically they'll be drawn something like this on the state test, and they'll usually shade it. So you can like see like, okay, this shaded area, that's what we're looking at for this plane. And what they'll do is they'll put some points or symbols or dots inside of it. So they might do like, okay, here's point A, here's point D, and then in the corner, in an uppercase cursive letter, you'll see something called C. And let's see, maybe they'll put a third point in here as well, maybe like F. So A, F, and D, all of those are just regular non-cursive uppercase letters. C, capital C, is a uppercase script letter. And this plane is going to be extending in all directions. It's going to go left, right, it's going to go up and down, but it won't go through the paper towards the ceiling or down through the paper towards the floor. It's just going out in all of the other directions. Two ways we can name planes. So we can use our capital uppercase script letter by itself, so plane capital cursive C. The second way we can name it, and this is important, you have to use 3 points. So the order doesn't matter. You could go FDA, FAD, DAF, any of those are fine. 3 capital points. So A, F, and D are the 3 points that we see here. So some basics about planes. A plane is a flat surface made up of points. It is drawn as a shaded 4-sided figure, just like above, and it's named by a capital script letter, so this is singular, so just a single capital script letter, or by the letters naming 3 coplanar points. And if you're wondering what does coplanar mean, well, points that lie on the same line, on the same plane, sorry, are said to be coplanar. And hey, we got through this definition without it erasing everything, so that's great. So a couple things for planes just to remember. Capital cursive letters name planes, lowercase cursive letters name lines. If you have multiple points that are on the same plane, then they are called coplanar. And like I said before, it doesn't go up and down, so it's not going to go to the ceiling or to the floor. It's just that flat piece of paper that would extend in all directions from your desk. That's kind of the idea there. Okay, so now some examples, and what you're going to see is after I read each of these questions, they're going to pop up on your video in Canvas, and what I'm going to ask you to do is to answer as they come up. So the answer actually is going to go into the video that you're watching right now if you're watching it in the right place. So a couple things to note before we start. I'm going to highlight in yellow capital uppercase letters, so P, Q, W, S, R, T, and U. All of those are capital uppercase letters. Those are, if we look back at our definitions, capital uppercase letters are points. The second thing I'm going to do is highlight in red lowercase letters. So this is N, this is M, and this is L. That is lowercase cursive. So remember, lowercase cursive is how we name, one of the ways we can name lines. And the last thing I'm going to do is highlight this F. That is an uppercase cursive F. So if you remember that from the definition we just did there, capital uppercase cursive is how one of the ways that we can name a plane. So question number 1 is that capital F there that we see highlighted in blue. Is that a point, a line, or is it a plane? So you can go ahead and answer that question now. Question number 2, true or false? TU will not intersect PS. So true or false, TU will not intersect PS. So if we're taking a look here, TU is right here, PS is right here. So you have to decide, will they intersect? Will they cross? So you can go ahead and answer that one now. And then our last question here, all points shown are coplanar, or they're on the same plane. So true or false, all points shown are coplanar, or they are on the same plane. So go ahead and answer that now, please. Okay, so let's just take a quick peek through, check your work here. So is F a point, a line, or a plane? So F is capital, it is cursive. So because of that, we are going to call this one a plane, because it is capital and it's cursive and it's a single point. True or false, TU will not intersect PS. This is false. If we take a look at TU, and we keep drawing it, if we take a look at PS, and we keep drawing it through those arrows, what we're going to see is, hey look, if we keep drawing them forever, 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 they cross right here. So that's true because we see these little arrows right here. So the arrows say these lines keep going. So if they didn't keep going, they wouldn't intersect. Or if they were parallel, if they just kept going forever, 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 and never intersected, then we could say that. But unfortunately, they do cross if we keep drawing them out. So that statement is false because they will intersect. Lastly here, all points shown are coplanar. This one's a little bit more challenging to see, but this is actually true. So all of the points shown highlighted in yellow, so T, U, R, S, P, Q, W, all of those are on that same flat piece of paper. They're all on the same plane. The only way that we could find a point that wouldn't be coplanar is if it was like towards the floor. So if we had like an invisible line that was tracing this down somewhere down here, and if this was specifically below this plane and we had another point like A would not be coplanar, but A is not shown. Everything that is shown is on that same line. It's not below, it's not above, it's on the same line. So because of that, all of the points shown are in fact coplanar. It is a true statement. All right, everybody. So hopefully working through this video was helpful. Hopefully you got some good notes. The next assignment is going to be going to some practice questions that will test your knowledge of some of these skills. Like I said, save these notes. You can use them on assessments. I know it's a lot of definitions, but that being said, if you keep your track of them, you won't have to memorize them. You'll just have them with you on the assessments. So as always, thanks for watching. Let us know if you have any questions.